Hello, welcome along to Best of the Rest here on the Rangers Rabble Patreon. Jamie was dead confused there because we were having a wee laugh and a joke, and I went straight into the professional mode. That's how it's done, Jamie, mate. I am joined today, of course, by Jamie. Jamie, how are you?
I'm not too bad, mate. How are you?
Not bad. Do you know what? I actually forgot we had two Jamies. I was slagging Jamie Duff there just in case.
I knew he was trying to slag me. Makes him feel big. See if it makes him feel big about yourself. I'm all for it. If it boosts his confidence, it's fine by me.
Listen, I'm 5'7" and I'm as wide as a Clyde. I'm always big. I don't need to make myself feel big. We're also joined, of course, by the man you just heard there, the upside down beautiful alien that is Jamie Duff. Jamie, how are you?
I'm great, mate. I'm great.
Kerr, my friend, joins us as well. How are you?
I'm okay, thanks.
Good. Quite a bit to get through, although there was one game that we could probably just leave and not talk about. But we will actually start. I know I always go through the running order of games, but I'm going to change it just to annoy Jamie. And we will start with the other Glasgow team, Dundee 2, Celtic 4. And the reason I want to start there is so that we can further discuss the scenes at the start of the game, Kerr, with the, would you say, desecration of the minute's silence?
It's not unexpected, was it? We do it every year, so stupid does what stupid does. You don't expect anything less from them. If I didn't do it, it'd be a surprise, to be honest with you. But every year they do it, so I don't expect anything less.
Don't expect anything less. Do you know what we'll do for this? Jamie Curry, you're Jamie, and Jamie Duff, you're him. Right? We'll just take it that way.
As a pronoun, I like to be known as him or he.
It is Sir Duff, it is. Jamie, like Kerr says, it's expected, but it still doesn't change the fact that it's, for me anyway, it's really annoying.
It's embarrassing. You know, you can't stand for a minute in silence for those who fought for your freedoms. It doesn't matter what you believe and what you think of those people. If you can't stand in silence for a minute, you'll get serious issues as a human being if you can't do that.
And JD, what was all the stuff about the tennis balls? I don't know what all that was about.
I don't know. Before we can want to ask Kerr, because as we heed through on, I'm only joking. I think it's to do with the boy Higgins in it. Some sort of chief constable, somebody with the Strathclyde Post, and we're kicking the Green Brigade's doors in and all that. So they're not happy he's becoming on the Celtic staff or something. Something to do with that. I don't know, but I think the whole booing or chanting or singing, they weren't really booing, they were singing and shouting, weren't they, and throwing tennis balls on and just protesting during the minute. They choose that minute to do it, but it's another black mark against the pesky away fans, isn't it?
Yeah, it most certainly is. I don't get the significance though, Kerr, of a tennis ball. I mean, I'm asking you because you're the man to ask, but I don't get the significance of a tennis ball.
Nah, they are. You're asking the wrong person. Not got a clue.
I think they had a banner that said balls in your court or something like that.
Right.
So they threw on the tennis balls.
Aye. People listening will not have a clue how much editing I've got today, and we're like 4 minutes in. That's ridiculous. On the game itself, Jamie, if we're being brutally honest, which we do like to be, we try and get rid of as much bias as we possibly can. Comfortable victory for Celtic?
You would say so. I mean, when Dundee defend the way Dundee defended, I mean, what else is Celtic supposed to do? You know, they handed them goals, Martin fresh air in the 6-yard box, but Celtic's got to put their chances away, and they've done it. The only thing for them will be losing the daft goals, which seems to be a theme in Glasgow. So long may it continue.
Right, for one side, long may it continue. JD picked up on it there. They are still Celtic. I mean, obviously, we'll come to Dundee in a minute. Good going forward, but again, a bit like ourselves, dodgy at the back.
I think Big Joe Hart comes out, posted missing for that last goal, isn't he? The other one, I don't know, but Celtic looked. I know they were it was 2-1 at one point, but they looked comfortable. He's some player, Furuhashi. Kyogo's some player, so we've got that to think about. I know we want to try and stay non-biased doing this, Martin, but when you've not been on the last couple of weeks, we've absolutely not been doing that. We've been watching these games through blue-tinted glasses, and that's just the way it's went. But they are looking good, and there's somebody else I'm going to say that I've watched the last couple of weeks. Ralston is looking quite a good player, man. He's putting a good delivery in the box, which I'm surprised about.
Do you know the best part of that? And it's a shame that we do these audios sometimes. The second that came out your mouth, both Kerr and Jamie nearly fell off their seats laughing. It's not, I mean, again, I repeat myself about 40 times when I do this. We do try and take the blue tinted specs off a little, Kerr, but as far as Ralston goes, I mean, I think I might have looked good at right back against Dundee.
Ralston's just a average footballer, in my opinion. He's nothing great. He's had a bit of a good streak. He's got a new contract, but Celtic need better if they want to go further in the Championship or in Europe. He's not good enough.
He's no Tav or Patterson, let's be brutally honest, and Patterson's only played a handful of games. The first Celtic goal, Jamie, offside?
I'm not sure what the rule. I'm not sure what the actual rule is, but I seen on Twitter that it could be. But I mean, to be fair, Dundee's defending was shambolic, so I wouldn't even complain about it, to be honest.
No,
you know,
complaints.
I'm complaining, start moaning that they got the decision, but they're there to take those chances, and that's the thing. They're quick to react. It was Jota, wasn't it, that scored? He's looked decent, good to decent, I would say, decent to good. Since joining in, he's on a bit of hot streak at the minute, so he's there to take the chance. So fair play to him for falling in.
Well, I mean, if you watch, I should say, Sports Scene, which if you're subscribed to the Rangers Rabble on Patreon, then you don't have to, JD, but if you watch Sports Scene, you would think that Jota's up there with Ronaldo.
Aye, they're loving him, aren't they? And they're urging him to buy him. See, for me, it's no offside, because I know he is offside and that shot's it, but it's similar to I think it was the Kamara goal maybe for us. We fashion offside or something like that. One of the I don't know. It's no offside. It's the second phase of play. He's well onside when he puts the ball in the net. So, listen, he's a dangerous player, man. He does look quite good. So, I'm not going to sit here and say he's shite, because he's looked really good.
No.
They've brought in a couple of boys or 2 or 3 boys who have really took to Scottish football right away. No bedding in time really for your Jotas and your Kyogos and your Abadas and that. So, they're looking dangerous, but they've got their vulnerabilities and all.
No, they do, but one of their strengths, Kerr, is, and there's no shying away from it, is Kyogo scores the second goal. Let's be brutally honest, as painful as it is, he's just all round a very, very good player.
Yeah, he's a dangerous player in the box. His movement's good, he's quick. He's got the attributes for playing up there, and they can finish with his head and his feet, so he's dangerous. And he went down again right enough, which I don't like to see. He went down, I don't know who he ran into, but he ran into somebody and he went down holding his face. I mean, if that was anybody else in Scottish football wearing a blue top, they'd be all over the media saying he's cheating, but this guy's getting away with it. I'm not saying he's cheating, but you can't get down like that. Nothing really happens to him. He bleached his hair the other week because he got a slap. It must have been a hard slap because his hair changed colour, but he's I mean, for such a good footballer, he's fallen into their trap. He came and never done it straight away, so I don't know if it's ingrained up there. You have to cheat to get things. It's because he's never done it the first 2 games and he's trying these things. But if he keeps up with performances like with Celtic, he's only going to be there a couple of seasons and he'll probably move to England or something, because he is a good player. Same with Jota. I say if he can afford Jota, I think it's 6 million or something. It's 6 million euro.
Aye.
But see, sticking on, Jamie, the Kyogo, Kerr does make a good point. It's only the last kind of 2 weeks that we've started to see this dive into the ground, and he's one of those players that he's good enough that he doesn't have to do all that fanning about.
No, He doesn't need to do it. I don't know why. I just don't know why. Some players just do it and some others don't. But to be fair, he's got the one thing in this league that defenders hate, and that's movement and pace. He's a good finisher, but it's his movement and pace that frightens the living daylights out of the other centre halves in this league. And if he keeps it up for a full season, he's gonna. I would say he would be the top goal scorer at this rate.
Yeah.
You know, he's really come in and took like Scottish football, like to a duck to water, because you don't really know how types of these Japanese players and things are going to deal with the physical nature of the league. But he just gets on and plays his football, and there's a wee bit of diving, but he's a good player. Can't take anything away from him, really.
Martin, I think you were saying that we've not really seen that for the start when he first came, but I think when he first came, I don't think the players knew who. Opposition players didn't know who he was and stuff like that, so he almost had a wee bit of a free rein and nobody was trying to ruffle him up. A couple of hard tackles here and there. Now players know who he is. They're trying to ruffle him up in other ways. So a wee slap across the back of the head, a couple of wee shoves and a wee nudge is probably something he's not seen in the game in his career probably, but coming to Scotland he's going to start to see that now because people see him to be dangerous. So if he's going to beat you at playing football, what else can you try and gain an advantage? Now if that's ruffling him up, a couple of cuffs, couple of nudges here and there, then he'll react to that the only way he knows it would be to be like, fuck, just fall to the ground. Whereas another daft, he would maybe square up or try to stand firm, but his reactions to be falling down.
He'd never done it in a J League, but and he's up against fellow players over there for Japan, for Europe, for Brazil. He never really done it there, and he was playing in Japan as well. So why should he do it when he comes here? Why
is that in that game though, Kerr? Is that kind of the
J League's actually not a bad league. I mean, it can be quite physical at times.
Is it physical? I don't know. I don't think like Obalai just come up and scud you at the back of the head, turn your hair blonde.
Come on, it wasn't really a hard scud. Even that one, right? Fair enough, he was slapped, but against Dundee, it was him actually an anti-guy and him and dude holding his face.
That was the point I was going to make here. Straight back to JD. I can understand. I mean, I wouldn't do it myself, but I can understand why he went down. Against Livingston because he did get a slap regardless of how hard it was. He just wanted to make the point that he'd been hit. The one against Dundee, he seemed to just run into the boy, not at much pace, and then just went down as if Lee Harvey Oswald had a shot at him.
Martin, I think they're definitely. I thought there was a wee exchange, like a wee kind of, not a scuffle, but a wee kind of to and fro, which made him think, oh yeah, I can get in here. So I don't know, man. I thought there was a little bit of something, but
Jamie, Dundee did kind of get back into it. Goal from Mullen. Again, just simple defending that we've mentioned. Both Glasgow teams are struggling with it now, but it's certainly an avenue for lesser teams in the league to get at Celtic.
Yeah, it's one cross ball into the box and it's a goal. They just don't pick up. You know, it's basic stuff. If you're playing in this league, you've got to be able to defend crosses and set pieces if you're going to be successful. And so far, they've proved that they can't really do that. So it's an avenue, as you say, Martin, some of the smaller teams will be able to get to them, especially because the small teams will play for set pieces. That's usually their game plan when they come up against Rangers or Celtic, for that matter. Mm-hmm. But it's something they really need to sort out because if it keeps creeping into their play, they're going to drop more points.
Yeah.
Mark, we have said that 18% possession Dundee had and they scored 2 goals. Mm-hmm. So it begs the question that what could happen if a team has more possession against Celtic, perhaps. But we could be wishful thinking here, but they do look frail, but there's a few teams that look frail at the back.
I know, look, second half, Kerr. Jota scores early, Kyogo gets another soon after. As much as this pains me to say it, when they get going, Celtic in an attacking sense, especially against the smaller teams, but once they get going, they're really hard to stop.
Yeah, and I said that last week, and they too were laughing because I was praising Celtic a bit. They're good to watch, and they're.
Oh, I didn't go that far.
I'm not being biased here. I'm just speaking as somebody watching a game of football. They're good to watch, and they can score goals. But they've always, like we said, they get a bit at the back where they'll concede. But I think that's Ange's style. I think he thinks if he can score 3, 4, 5, they're going to win the game anyway. So he's not really bothered about the back per se. He's just wanting to attack, isn't he?
Is that going to hold them back, JD, in Europe then, if that's his philosophy?
Well, probably. It'll hold them back in a few games during this league running as well, because of that philosophy. Because you need to go sometimes and sit in and dig in a wee bit. However, some of the shite that they'll play against, you can just go for it, man, and probably win most games 4-5-2, 5-3, whatever they want to do. So they'll give you some other. There'll be a game or two. They'll give a team a 6 or a 7-0. They look at all right going forward. So Europe, I don't know. Maybe leave that for a European podcast, Martin. This is SPL highlights.
I'm simply asking a question. There's no need to be nippy. No need to be nippy. That's harsh. Jamie, Dundee. I've not really seen they've had one good result. Was it 5-0 last week? I think. Apart from that, they look a poor team.
I think they came up too early. Do you know that? See, when I watched them, they look like a championship team playing in the Premier League. You know, like a middle of the road championship team, a mile off it. You know, they've got decent players in there, Charlie Adam and things like that, but he can't do it all on his own.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got McGowan and the guy McMullen, who's quite decent, but at the back, they just look like a middle of the road championship side. And then their goalkeeper doesn't fill me with much confidence either, to be honest. It's not one that I would be looking out for.
Claire, they won't be judged against obviously Rangers and Celtic, but
No.
is McPake under a bit of pressure now, do you think?
I don't think so, no, because I don't know if Dundee will go out and sack him, because I think they've got enough money to bring in somebody else, unless they get destroyed every week, because I don't think they've got any. I think if they stay for self-relegations, their goal, but I think they will. They were my favourites to get down at the start of the season, as you know, and there's nothing they've done that's I've seen otherwise to change my mind. I just think they're, what Jamie says, an average championship side that probably come up too early, but that's just the way football is. They've got promoted, which they enjoyed, but for all they've done in the past, which I didn't like, so I hope they do go back down, to be fair.
Kiera, I thought you tipped Dundee United to go back down this season.
I said Dundee were relegated and Dundee United to finish 9th. If you're listening to the pod,
I stand corrected, Your Honour.
That's it. By the way, you can't have an argument with Kerry. It's awfully vicious, isn't he?
as I say,
that fuzzy stuff in the top of your head.
it was standing out already. Look.
JD Dundee, just nah.
I'm not interested in them.
And listen, near them at, and I hope they go down. Don't get me wrong, it's one of the ones I hope they go down. But is there no kind of nucleus of a team there that maybe with a bit more of an experienced manager might be able to do something?
It reeks of Charlie Adam just getting back to his boyhood club. Do you know what I mean? He's probably in there like that, like Jamie's saying, and amongst all these championship players, really. I don't think there's another player in there. Probably get one of the ugliest teams in the SPL as well. But
Even worse than Celtic.
I still can't. I know they've got a game in hand, but I know we've said this every week, but Ross County are still 4 behind them. I'm surprised at that, because Ross County play good football, and I rhyme off 3 or 4 of the players that I really like. But Dundee, I think when they stretch the season out, I could see them finishing bottom.
I can see Ross County picking up a lot more points throughout the season going forward than what Dundee have. But we'll come to Ross County. We'll come to them. We'll move on. Before we come to the next game, which for me was game of the weekend by a country mile. Jamie, let's discuss the fact that Hibs weren't in action this week for COVID reasons. Is it fair that they get the time off when others have been maybe made to play? And I'm thinking back, I think it was St Mirren, wasn't it, against Celtic? They were forced to play. I think all their goalkeepers were out. Is it fair what's happening with Hibs now, or should there be sanctions?
I don't think it's fair. I think if they've got 11 fit players of any description, you know, bringing them in from the youth team or whatever, they should be fulfilling these fixtures. Because who knows what's going to happen further down the line. Games might be called off because of the weather, and then you'll have a fixture backlog, which Hibs will probably complain about further down the line, caused by themselves not wanting to play, keeping their feet up for a cup semi-final, giving them 3 weeks to prepare. Well, we can't be bothered playing Livingston and Ross County. That's beneath us. We are keeping ourselves for the semi-final. Well, they've not won in about 300 games.
Do you know, I was contemplating putting this on YouTube, but I don't think I'm going anywhere.
Live?
In terms of that, there should be some sort of sanctions. They should be made to play or forfeit the games 3-0. But that'll not happen because the rules get made up as we go along. And that's
Scottish
how
football.
it sort of works. I don't actually, I'll go on record and say I don't actually know what the COVID rules are and how they've changed from this season to last season. I just want a wee rant about Hibs.
See, for me though, see if you play right, I'm going to jump in then so Jamie can cool down. See if you play I want to play devil's advocate here, right? And the world, oh fuck, here I go. Don't want to say it less, but the world's changed with COVID, right? And the restrictions have lifted in society. So I believe there was sanctions on teams back last season because we were all in lockdown and you weren't supposed to be doing A, B and C. So if something happened, then these people... But now you're allowed to go and do what you want. So if somebody does catch COVID and it gets into a club, that's only because the players have been at a soft play with their reins and you're allowed to do that. So I understand why there's no sanctions. Do I still believe they should play the games? Aye. Because that's the whole point. You've got a youth system. So for under 18s, under 19s, all the way up, whatever you want. So they should be able to play 11 players, pull in 11 players and play, or 12 players, 2 in the bench, 3 in the bench, play your game. So I don't understand that. That shouldn't even be a sanction. That should just be a given. What happens if they get 8 injuries? Is the game going to get abandoned for that? Shouldn't it happen? So they should just be told, no, it's game on. Well, we need to play 7 under 18s. So be it. So, that was my...
I don't know the full scenario with Hibs. I don't know. Was it just 2 players, Keir, wasn't it? It was
but say you've got 8, right, with COVID issues. You don't have to isolate for 10 days. But if you've been vaccinated twice and you come back a negative PCR, you can go back to normality. So this has been over 10 days. They've missed 2 games. So players can't still be isolating. So what's the issue?
Keir, see with Hibs having such a long layoff.
Yep.
Obviously, the first game back is going to be against us in the Cup.
Yep.
Is that a benefit for Hibs? Because if it's me personally, I don't think it is.
It might be some respects, but other ways it can backfire as well because they'll not play trial. But it's end of the day, it's up to Rangers. If we turn up, we beat them. Doesn't matter how long the rest they've had, and it's no fair in a way because we're not getting the rest, but they are. And they're getting players back. I might have been injured before this, coming back in as well. But that's the way the rules have went, and it's the way it obviously works now in Scottish football.
Adds a wee bit of spice to this first game after the break with that absolute embarrassment of a so-called CEO saying it was whistleblower was from the blue side of Glasgow, and then came out and after he obviously sobered up and came out and kind of tried to backtrack on it and stuff like that. So that's going to add a wee bit of spice to this game from a fan's perspective. I think that'll be good to look forward to that.
I don't really think there's much space needed to be added to a Rangers Hibs game at Hampden, though, is there?
When Ryan Porteous is in the park.
Well, at least we know that Porteous will get sent off at some point and it'll give us an advantage. Right, let's move on and let's pretend that we're not like 40 minutes into the recording. We're only probably about 20 minutes through it. Game of the weekend, JD. Hearts 5, Dundee United 2. A tough game to call probably before it because they've both been in really good form, but Hearts just showing their quality really. I thought they were excellent.
They were. And I'm going to say it again, folk are sick of me hearing this, but if it wasn't for Benjamin Seagrass, who did have a howler in one of the goals, this game could have been 8 or 9 easy. You could have hit double figures because he pulled off another 5 or 6 great saves. Hearts were looking really good. I think it was all the goals were brilliant, but he topped it all off. The boys, I said that to Jamie earlier on the day, the boys finished for the 5th see the confidence brimming through the team, and you're a wee guy like just comes off the bench, runs clean through, and just does a wee dink. Don't see many players doing that in Scottish football. You don't see that. So they're running on a bit of high confidence just now, Hearts. So a lot of the players that we've spoke about a lot over the last couple of weeks all contributed and scored. So they look good, man.
I see Chris at fault, Jamie, for the first goal. But after that cracking game, even though they get beat 5-2.
It really was. It was, as you said, it was a tough one to call, but I didn't expect Dundee United to ship 5 goals because defensively this season they've been really, really solid. And that comes down to Segrist, and you can't legislate for that error. It was just one of those. Every goalkeeper makes mistakes, but it was a cracking game, and Hearts look as if they bounced right back, which will please Robbie Nielsen. But that's good that they come back scoring 5 goals, and playing some good football. But it also shows that they don't need Liam Boyce to that interchangeable front three with Ben Woodburn playing as a central striker this weekend. He grabbed 2 goals and played quite well, so they've found a way to mix it up when they've not got their top man.
Well, I don't know, maybe care if they've found a new position for Woodburn, because obviously he came to Hearts with quite a lot of promise. Where was it he came through? Was it Liverpool?
Liverpool.
He came through, he was hotly tipped as the next big thing, and that was probably his best performance in a Hearts shirt.
He played quite well, I have to say. I thought Hearts played well. I thought Jamie said it more pace up front because Boyce wasn't there and the players weren't interchanging. But I thought the United defence was very poor. I thought Edwards and McGrew were poor. 2 full-backs weren't really sitting in, which was strange for Dundee United because they've been quite tight at the back. The boy Foots get booked, but I thought he looked on the highlights didn't look great either.
Yeah.
But I just thought after the 4th goal, United chucked it. That 5th goal, they were all walking back and the boys running through. They just chucked it, and I think Tom Court said that after it, didn't he? I mean, they came back to 3-2, which was a wee boost, but they just chucked it. I thought Nicky Clark get a goal, and I thought that was a great goal. Craig Gordon actually played a header, cut a good saves as well. Craig Gordon.
Really well, yeah.
So he did actually a really good game to watch, and both these sides will be fine this season. I think Hearts will be. I'm not going to finish in the top 2, but I think they could, if they keep it going the way they're going, they could finish 3rd.
Well, I mean, JD Robbie Nielsen's doing his reputation absolutely no harm.
He's got a solid back 3 defender, and his midfield doesn't really change. He changes your up tops. So your Woodburns and your Gary Mackay-Stevens. Boy that played the Rangers, wee Barry Mackay, Boyce, they all interchange and they take turns in and out, but he's got his solid core, his team sorted there, so they look good, man. They do look good, and a couple of cracking goals. Boy Cochran in it, cares, he scored an absolute belter, so he's been looking decent as well.
He's on for Brighton or something?
I think so, yeah. From my Dundee United contacts, they said that wee Fuchs is a bit inconsistent, same as Niskanen, but I think they'll be a bit worried about how that game ended, because you don't want to be tarred with a chucked it brush, do you?
No, well, for me, it was the sort of Fuchs versus Birmingham midfield battle, because I think they two have probably been outside of us. Probably the standout sort of defensive midfieldery types. I know we spoke a lot about Birmingham, but Fuchs has been right up there, and I thought Birmingham again, Jamie, was a different class.
I think Birmingham, out of the two of them, just got more to his game. Mm-hmm. Fuchs is a good tackler, and he'll keep it simple and he'll protect. But Birmingham is like, he's as close as to Glenn Kamara as we will possibly get. To make a comparison.
And ironically, Jamie, it'll cost more than what Glenn Kamara cost to buy.
Yep. That's just the way it is. I mean, Hearts will look for good money for him, and so they should. Dundee made a catastrophic error letting him go for 50 grand as it was, but here we are.
I think the boy Gabler next time does a lot of work for him as well, right enough, because he puts in a shift up back and forth.
Gets about, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He likes a tackle. He likes to do the dirty side of the game. The boy Devlin, he's a pest.
Aye.
I thought
That's
Hearts were well-deserved winners, but I thought it's been quite telling again in the last couple of weeks since Martin says Nicky Clark wasn't that good.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Again, that he scored an absolute... What a header that was, by the way. Kerr, was that Freeman that put the ball in as well? Because it was a beautiful ball into the box as well. I like that.
It was poorly defended though, because it was a free header, Kerr, at the back post. That was obviously to make it 3-2.
Probably was, but he was unlucky with another shot, didn't he? Gordon got to Nicky Clark.
Fantastic save.
I think we spoke about it, didn't he? With the way United plays, perfect, because he just runs about, he runs the channels, he holds the ball up, and he can finish. So he's perfect for the way they play.
Craig Gordon's having a wonder save every game just now for Hearts. We've watched it every week. He has a wonder save. We're not seeing out any of our goalkeepers give us a wonder save to stop a goal any game we're watching just now. So I would have always have said McGregor was the number one keeper in the league, but you can't no say Craig Gordon's probably been the top keeper in the league this season. He's been outstanding in every game, and he's always pulls off a wonder save that's a game changer or would affect the score of the game.
Right.
He's not showing his age at all, Craig Gordon, is he?
No, he's a good goalkeeper, and he's always has been. I know he went through issues when he was at Sunderland and stuff, but he came back up. He came to us. McCoy let him go, didn't he? Didn't want to keep him in the name, and Dunmill the other day they let him go, which was probably a bad move as well. Then he's back to Hearts.
Well, they let him go, and it took them a long time. I still don't think they've recovered for losing him.
No, I mean Craig Gordon. To get Craig Gordon as a keeper on a free at any point is a really good player, because he's a really good goalkeeper. Nobody can say any different. And like Jamie says, JD says, he'll pull off 1 or 2 saves a game, and the Hearts defenders know that. So enough to make a mistake or late, they've got a goalkeeper they trust behind them, and sometimes that helps. I don't know. Like I mentioned, Rangers defence haven't been settled this season. The goalkeepers have been settled, so you don't know if the defenders are thinking, like, who's in goals a day? Do we trust him to save us if he don't get it? And it's all small things, but it can end up to be costly during games.
Yeah. The lead up to the second Hearts goal, I have to add, Cochrane, again, poor defending, great strike, Jamie. But was there a handball in the lead up to that?
I would probably say not, because I just thought it was a good goal for Hearts, to be fair. Cochrane took it well, and yeah, I mean...
You've got no idea what I'm talking about, have you?
To be honest, I didn't see it.
The ball does strike him, but I don't know if it was his arm wasn't away from his body that far, to be fair.
No, it was at a home ball, no? What did you say?
It's one of the ones that could have went either way, and the referee didn't get it, so I wouldn't complain about it. But it was against my team. I'd be shouting, I'd be red in the face shouting. So it's one of the things you get.
Well, Martin, going back to your point about the handball, if it was against my team, I would have been red in the face shouting about it. But it's one of them. The ball's his hands close to his body, so
I can't wait to ask you about the Aberdeen game. The handballs in that. That's going to be a fantastic conversation.
I seen that one.
That's all right.
No, but on the goal, the boy took it well. He's been a really solid signing for Hearts down that left-hand side. And I think it just, his performance deserved the goal, Cochrane, and he's one to watch, because I don't think he'll be at Hearts for long if he keeps performing the way he is. I think he might be able to go down to the English Championship and get a club down there and kick on.
Where did they come from?
Brighton.
Oh, is that him? Sorry, yeah.
Keep up, JD. Keep up.
My phone's run out of battery, so I've got the info.
You look at Google.
I've not got anything. I just ask Kerr, and then he tells me. And then
you know what? I need to remember, if I'm going to speak about an incident that is maybe a wee bit you might not remember, just always go to Kerr. He knows everything. I
sat and watched your bastard highlights and couldn't even remember.
Did nobody say
about that cake? I watched it today. I watched it back today.
That's why you knew about the handball. Is this just a blip, JD, for Dundee United then? You said you spoke to your contacts Obviously, you've got a lot of Dundee United blood runs through your veins, doesn't
No,
it?
it doesn't.
But just a blip for Dundee United because they have made a good start to the season.
Aye, I think so. It's how we said this about Hearts last week. It's probably how they react next week. And Hearts came out and played really well. So it's up to Dundee United.
Well, I mean, next week if they win, they'll be doing really well because there's no game.
You know, in the next game. So I don't like that whole looks like they kind of chucked it and then they lost a cut of goals, which is really surprising considering the experience they've got. Shout out to Kerr. Kerr's also mentioned the big boy Edwards. What a strike that was, I know. That was about 30 odd yards out. I know it took a slight deflection, but
Gary Mackay even stole it off him too easy.
I know. True.
And then he walked back like I can't be bothered going to get it.
What is that? I've scored a worldie, so I've done
I'm
my
not
job.
going to catch him, fuck it.
It's a great finish with the wee McKenniff, man. It's a belter of a finish. And you're speaking about that finish. See if Kyogo finishes that, they're drooling. They're drooling. But
I think United need to watch because that's their second defeat in a row after getting beat with St Johnstone last week. So I don't want to go into a slump because they had a lot of confidence in their squad, but another defeat after this could put them in a slump. Do you know what I mean? Because so they want to bounce back their next game.
I think if you look back now at that Dundee United, the St Johnstone defeat, they're going to be. I think at the time they probably weren't that overly fussed. I think now that's 2 in the bounds. Looking back at the St Johnstone game, after looking at fucking St Johnstone again this week, they're going to be disappointed with that result now because they hammered St Johnstone last week.
Are you alright? You like to get a dig in at St Johnstone, don't you?
But you never get your 3 points.
Do you think that had an effect on them? But this game, you know, by hammering St Johnstone and not getting the win, maybe, you know, when you go away from home and score 2 goals, you expect to get something for the game, you know. I
just think, Jamie, that they came up against a team in form, and I think Hearts are a lot better actually than what people think they are. I genuinely do. I think they're a cracking outfit. I think Robbie Nielsen's got them playing some great stuff. He knows what he's doing tactically, Robbie Nielsen as well.
I think
he's a manager to watch, by the way, for the future.
He's also got a settled system because you don't see him changing his system an awful lot. You know, we talk about the defence and the back threes it is and the goalkeeper being the same, but he doesn't really change his overall style or shape, or you know, he's sort of got it down to a T and everybody knows their job. So that sort of makes things a lot easier for the Hearts players when they're coming in and out and rotating.
I think United have done really well this season at the start, and I think they could have been punching above what they actually are. And I think maybe a couple of defeats and then maybe winning and then getting beat again is what they're going to do for the rest of the season because they started really well, but I don't think they're as good as we're giving them credit for. I think they will go back down to an average kind of level. I don't mean they'll get relegated, but I think they'll go down to maybe 6th, 7th, 8th, that area.
I will say one thing, but Jerry, again, a fantastic crowd there, over 18,000.
It was a great crowd, aye. But Hearts are going to. They've probably got the best support out with Rangers, so they get the fans along. It's some place to go, and it's actually some stadium to go and sit in, man. Aye.
The big Hearts fans always turn out for remembrance as well. So they turn up my numbers because I like to remember and a good support that way.
Aye. They've got brains. There's only people with brains that don't support that. Next game is probably my 2 least favourite teams in the league, apart from Dundee United, Dundee. Well, it's 2 of my least favourite teams along with some other teams. Aberdeen, Motherwell. Kerr, a 2-0 win for Motherwell. It doesn't really tell the story of the game though, because
Aberdeen had chances, Martin.
That first half, I don't know how Aberdeen don't score.
No, me neither. The chances in both halves, they could have better first touches, better control the ball through. Second half, Lewis Ferguson had a really good header, which Liam Kelly makes a good save. Liam Kelly actually played really well, considering the last few games he's had a few mistakes, but he played really well. And Big Van Veen, I know Jamie likes Big Van Veen, don't you, Jamie? Popped up with 2 goals, and poor defending
they
right
don't call him the budget bear camp for nothing, do they?
Budget bear camp. If we can just go back to Liam Kelly, he was another one pointed out by Martin as one of the worst keepers in the league. and he pulls
I
off
still
and
hold.
becomes
I
an
didn't say
absolute
aye.
great
Okay.
goalkeeper. What I would say about the Liam Kelly, I think everybody was going after he'd about the save and all that. Like, I'm expecting him to pluck it out there with his fingertips. If you're lying in the line and the ball's above your head, you're flicking that ball.
I think it was the initial save.
Did he get fingertips to that one? Wasn't that clear cut for me? But he did pull off a couple of good saves. I'm still not having him, Matt. No joking aside, I'm not having him as a great keeper. But this is the kind of thing with Liam Kelly. For some reason, he'll pull off a couple of worldies 1 week and it gets pure highlighted, and then he's back in Scotland squads, and then he's shit again. So, I did pull off a few good saves.
No, to be fair to him, it was shown at the start of the game where Motherwell were trying to give the goal away. There was two or three back passes that were ridiculous. But look, he had a good game, but he has too many bad games for me.
I agree.
You agree with that big massive yawn?
I do.
Second half, Jamie, and something obviously just switches. I don't know if it's maybe a confidence thing with Aberdeen, because they should have been ahead in that first half. They weren't. And then Motherwell came out, and I think they only had 2 shots on target and scored 2 goals.
It's just the old saying in football: you don't take your chances and you get punished. And Van Veen's both finishes were excellent, especially the second one.
Yeah.
Do you not think Aberdeen should have had a penalty?
We're going to come to that. Aye, I do. I do think they should have had a penalty.
Aye, they should have. Aye.
I mean, JD, who didn't watch the full highlights, won't know. But Kerr, it was a definite pull on Ramirez's shot, wasn't it?
Aye, it was. Aye. I mean, it's a penalty. I don't know why you would say it. Obviously, it's not a penalty if someone gave it, but I suppose that's why teams are asking for VAR, because I would say it was a penalty. Aye.
Van
Don't
Veen.
mention VAR. It's nearly midnight, please.
Van Veen, JD. He's a strange player. I've heard him being described as a luxury player, but I mean, he's 2 goals a day. He took them so well. And if you want to play the type of football that clearly Graham Alexander does at Motherwell, which is sit back, and try and grab something, he looks like the perfect striker for that.
I think they may be playing him every week. I think Tony Watt's been playing pretty well, but the big man looks like he'll probably maybe bag you more goals than Tony Watt's going to score anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I agree with you sitting back with Graham Alexander. I think they just were outplayed by Aberdeen. I thought Motherwell have changed their ways a wee bit this season and kind of try to play a bit more fit by foot out the way. But for me, he's got to play every week for them. You can't have a boy like that sitting on the bench, and he's a bit of a game changer, if you know what I mean. There you go, 2 chances, but again, McCrory and Bates and one of the goals, the 2 of them are just like that. It's like that Spider-Man gif, the 2 of them are pointing at each other. The big man just through the middle of them, man. But I don't know where did Aberdeen go, man. They got a result last week, then they're beat this week. I don't know. Is it just one of the games, maybe? But to be fair, their season's probably over since they won that draw v the champions, didn't it? They celebrated that they won a cup that day, so that's the level they're at.
Well, there was a couple of incidents in the first half that I want to come to, but JD mentioned it. It's really difficult with 2 Jamies. JD mentioned it there. Ross McCrory, is he going backwards at Aberdeen?
I really don't know. I don't know how to answer it. I wouldn't say he's gone backwards, but I don't think he's a centre half. I really don't. I mean, I don't know if David Bates is a centre half either.
I don't think David Bates is after
to even things up there, but I think Ross McCrory is better at being the holding role midfield player. I don't think he's any good in defence at all, not even at right wing back or anything like that. I think he's sort of, I mean, you don't know what level he's going to reach, because when he was at Rangers, you thought, oh yes, he's going to be the next captain and all the rest of that hyperbolic stuff. And then he goes to Aberdeen and he just looks every bit your average SPFL player, really. I mean, I don't know.
Jamie, is that not just the desperation that we've got for a young player to break through? Jink, we were all, and listen, Kerr and JD have spoke about this a lot, but was it not just a case of we were so desperate for that young player to come through that we just jumped the boat because a lot of us were angry when he left?
Yeah, I think as well, he came through at a time where we were absolutely mince. So we were trying to grasp onto any sort of positive light at the time. And he came through as the Great White Hope, as it was. And
The great
he's
blue
ended
hope.
up at Aberdeen. So here, that just explains it all.
I think when you look at him now, I mean, the way we play, we probably didn't know we were going to kind of play this way at that point. And you're thinking, I'll just play him in that defensive midfielder role. He wouldn't fit in. Like, he's not a football player. In fact, he'd be nowhere near our midfield. He wouldn't even be on the bench. If Stephen Kelly can't go on the bench for Rangers, and he's a 100 times better football player than McCrory is, if we think McCrory was going to be a defensive midfielder for us, no way. But at the time, I was angry and all. You're thinking, no, he should just be sitting in there tackling. We don't need that, really.
No, we don't. And I'm going to come to Care now because I'm pretty sure that JD and Jamie will have no clue what I'm talking about here. 2 penalty shouts in the first half, Care. The first one for Aberdeen, handball. Don't really think it was a handball. I don't think it was an intentional handball with a Motherwell player. But it was a shout from Motherwell. And maybe this is just, again, my blue-tinted specs. Handball by Brown for you?
I don't think any two more penalties. I didn't think any two more penalties, but as in football nowadays, if it hits you any part of your arm, people's asking for a penalty, but I didn't think there were penalties.
And Jamie or JD, have you got any clue what I'm talking about?
Yeah, no.
JD, for the first time ever?
No, I've seen them. You're seeing the penalty opportunity, the penalties for Aberdeen. Absolutely fucking no chance. Never a penalty. Never.
You've not got a clue what I'm talking about, JD, have you? It's brilliant. We do this best of the rest. We claim to be professional, and yet he's all missed out in half of the incidents. It's great.
If it's
I actually think the Aberdeen handball penalty was a penalty, because if that would have been Rangers that was playing and that would have happened, I would have been screaming for it. But other than that,
but Jamie, it was
I can't
Aberdeen,
remember the Motherwell one.
so it wasn't a penalty.
Motherwell, Kerr, Graham Alexander. Are the Motherwell fans happy right now with how the team's playing, where they are in the league? If I'm a Motherwell fan, which I praise the Lord every night that I'm not.
You look like one.
Right now I do. Unclean and unwashed. He doesn't strike me with confidence.
You can only work with what he's got, innit? He's not got a really good budget. He's not got a lot of talented boys, so he has to work.
Style of football, though, Kerr. It's atrocious.
What do you want him to do? Do you want to play him at Barcelona or Arsenal or Chelsea? You can't play like that with their players.
Just attempt to play some kind of football.
But sometimes you can't, Martin, if you've got players that can't do simple passes. You have to play to their strengths. Every football manager does it. A lot of football managers get criticised for not playing attacking football, but if they play to the players' strengths, sometimes they can't. They have to play to what they know the players can do. Try to ask an average football player to do something you know they can't do. It's pointless. It's like putting squares in round holes. It's not going to work for you. So you just have to stick to what his players know and try and get results. And I think he's doing actually a good job there, considering what he's got to work with and the budget he's working.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you something. They used to get Parks of Hamilton, the coach company, who I used to drive for, right? And they must be paying him an absolute fortune on overtime, the amount of times they park that bus. Honestly, it's embarrassing.
Oh man.
No having that one.
Right, move on.
You don't have to at all.
They've just beat Aberdeen up in Pittodrie, and Martin's trying to call them out for being shy. What's going on?
I've just got a serious dislike for Motherwell.
Yeah.
Jamie, Stephen Glass. I mean, even Megan's got up and fucked off because we're talking shit. Stephen Glass. We mentioned that a few weeks ago. Is he under pressure? He got a few results. They obviously got that magnificent draw at Ibrox, which was the greatest in their history. But again, a defeat. As we spoke about, is he on thin ice again, or is it just one of those games?
No, I probably think he'll be able to dine out on the draw for a wee bit longer. But see, to be fair to Aberdeen, they played quite well. It's not as if they played extremely poor. Their performance levels are improving. I think this was just one of those games where, they missed about 1,003,000 chances and get done, and basically that was it for them. It was just one of them. I wouldn't look back at it and say Stephen Glass is under pressure or going to get sacked in the back of that.
No.
One specific
No,
90 minutes.
but it's not one specific though,
No.
is it? They had a horrendous start to the season.
No.
They picked up a couple of results, and now they've just lost to a poor Motherwell team at home.
But these things can happen though, really. It's just the nature of it. They had that draw at Ibrox in. I mean, that set them up for the season.
No, I just like to get a dig at Motherwell. That's
I
what I like. Right, let's move on, and guys, you'll need to help me out here because I really don't know what to say about this last game. Care, St Johnstone, St Mirren, nothing each. Not a lot happened, and I'm not going to JD because I know exactly what he's going to talk about.
Someone probably the better opportunities.
100%.
Johnson
For sure.
and the Clark played really, really well, I have to say.
He did.
Yeah.
And St Mirren, I know one of Ian Brophy's shots, I think it's just past it in Inverness at the
Still
moment as we
going,
speak.
it's still going, aren't they?
No, St Mirren done okay. They done what up to do, no concede. They just couldn't finish. But St Johnstone are struggling this season, but they're starting to pick up the points. We've seen last week them getting points. The other day they're getting points. So they've been playing poor, they weren't getting anything, but now they're starting to pick up things, and that'll be pleasing to the manager because he knows they're not playing well, but they're picking up points. So next thing is just up the performance levels. But I think they're struggling squad-wise. I think the squad's strong enough as it was. And Sean Rooney should have been sent off the park along. Chris King gets sent off, but Sean Rooney should have went.
Chris King gets sent off for just sheer stupidity, though. JD, you're on a yellow card, and whether that's a free kick or not, don't start arguing with the referee and shouting ball in his face.
Aye. It's sometimes what happens in football, innit? But it's stupid. But can the linesman can the ref just go at him, mate, come here, settle, enough, right? Stop talking about that. You're on a yell, enough's enough, and just get him away. You don't know if he's been in his ear, but I know. But St Johnstone, I don't know where to go with them, man. I know you're saying that they're picking up stuff. They're not picking. No. That's not picking up anything. They get their arses handed to them, and we're just lucky they'll get Xander Clark in goals, and that can't continue.
Got a point.
I know they get their arses handed to them. They get their arses handed to them by your number 2 team.
Look, I have to hold my hands up here. Last season, look, we all know they've lost their 2 best players, but they're playing, and St Mirren they've looked good, but they were playing St Mirren at home, and they looked like they had nothing.
Looked like the away team.
They were really, really poor.
I mean, they get 14 points this season. If a team is not playing well, they get 14 points. So if they start playing well, they're going to get more points, aren't they?
I just don't see anything on the horizon for them. You can see Aberdeen, even Kerr, we can see St Mirren winning games. St Mirren are playing well. They just came up against Xander Clark, having a couple of saves, and St Mirren probably needs somebody a wee bit more prolific. See like a Van Veen or something like that. St Mirren getting somebody. Big Van Veen. Or Christian Ramirez. You know what I mean?
Why don't we just give them Morelos on loan for 6 months?
Aye. Aaron McKenna, somebody like that. You know what I mean?
Griffiths on loan. I only nothing at Dundee, is he?
No, but in all seriousness, Jamie,
Killian Sheridan.
He would make some difference, wouldn't he? Even though he's already there, and we don't even notice. Jim Goodwin, Jamie, will he be a bit not annoyed because he's got a point away from home, but will he be feeling that his team probably should have took 3 points?
Probably, yep. The majority of the chances and the majority of the play, and again, they're a kind of up and down team like the rest of them. The rest of the rest.
Yeah.
They just are so inconsistent, every one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know what you're going to get 1 week for the next. I think that'll frustrate Jim Goodwin, especially as, St Johnstone. I mean, we keep talking about it on here. They've got nothing up front. Absolutely nothing. Chris Kane, Stevie May.
Killian Sheridan.
He's at Dundee now.
So he is.
That's how we can't score for St Johnstone, isn't it?
That's how we can't score for St Johnstone. I'm not even going to edit that out. I'm going to leave that in.
I was enthused to see Sean Rooney starting on the bench because I think Sean Rooney had a bit of a purple patch last season, and I think he thought he was a better player than he actually is. And
do
he's
you
been
know,
fun
do you
out.
know what, JD? Actually, there was a point, and again, I only watched the highlights, obviously, but there was a point where he was going forward and he lost the ball, and St Mirren went on the attack, and he just walked back. He wasn't interested in running back.
Shocking attitude to have. We seen him getting subbed the other time and he went right onto his phone up in the stand or on the bench. So obviously maybe it's getting to a boy like his heat. So maybe had his chance of a big move. It's not materialised. One of the ones, but he can enjoy his pint after that game on Saturday.
Do you think Callum Davidson sort of took St Johnstone as far as he can and needs a fresh challenge?
I was just about to come on to that, right? And I know why you've asked that, Jamie, right? And that's a very nice question, but I was going to come on to it. Well, we can sit here and say, look, Jim Goodwin's had a good start. They're only a point ahead of St Johnstone. But, and JD, I will bring this to you as you're the resident Callum Davidson hater. He's struggling, isn't he?
Yeah, struggling. He's struggling with that shumper combination he wears every day, and he's got the collar on, bucking, he's hanging about the touchline. Struggling is no the word. I think the problem with Callum Davidson is he wanted to play football when he went to St Johnstone, and like Kerr said, he's not got players to play football with, so he's just playing like absolute anti-football, and the only way you're going to do that is if you've got somebody who can score goals for you up top. And Chris Kane, aka Jamie Curry, isn't he going to score you some? Isn't he going to score you goals up there? He's going to get you sent off. So I don't know, man. I'm not going to. I don't hate on him, Martin. It's a very, very strong word. It's a strong word. But wee Quasi just he's in deep dire straits. But he'll
like me, Davey. Doesn't like Callum.
He'll dine on the 2 cups. They'll no sack him, Martin. They'll no sack him. He won 2 cups last year. He's got a free run this year, I think.
Kerr, if we're being honest, is he struggling? Because me and you have backed him, me and you have spoke very highly about him.
He's called him for the Scotland job.
Yeah.
What nonsense.
No, here, I said it. I'll put my head up.
He said, replace Gerrard with him.
No, I never.
No, I said that I could see it. And obviously, well, I'm going to say I was wrong. Because now I'm thinking Robbie Nielsen. But
he changes he changes his mind more than he changes his knickers, Kerr.
Listen, it's a wise man who can admit when he's wrong and change his mind.
Yep.
That's why you've never changed your mind in your life, JD, and you lost all your hair. Because you stressed over things. Kerr, let's be honest, Callum Davidson, even though he lost his 2 best players, he should probably still be doing better than what he is. And just to answer JD, does he play anti-football?
No, I think he tries to play football. He's got players there. The players he's got should be playing better, but I think Stevie Mays, his time's kind of up. Chris Kane, just saying, Michael Halloran only plays in Rangers up here. You've got Bryce in the middle of the park with Murray Davidson. How long are they 2 got left? They're struggling big time for squad numbers and young players with just a bit of enthusiasm and a bit of legs. He's trying his best, I think. I don't think he'll get sacked because, like JD says, he's won 2 cups, which will never happen again in St Johnstone's history in the 1 season, so that's going to spare him some time. He could have overstayed his welcome, as in for his own sake, getting a job somewhere else. I don't know if he's going to be as high in the list after this season, so he should maybe left on a high, but I think he's loyal to the club because he played there and stuff, so they'll not get relegated, but they're not going to have a season they did last season.
I think, Martin, see if it does go tits up and he maybe leaves, or if something happens, he gets a sack. I reckon the first SPL job that comes up, he would get solely on what he done with him last season.
Might have a wee boost coming shortly because I know there's clubs looking at Alan McCann already.
Oh, are they? That's interesting. I'm not surprised, Kerr. I'm not surprised at that at all. I was really surprised at the Preston move for Ali McCann. I thought he would have.
Preston the only team in for him. Nobody else went for him.
Madness.
We shall come to that next week and we'll discuss. We'll preview the games and we'll have a wee look at where the teams are and how they've been doing and stuff like that next week. But we shall finish up there, gentlemen, because I've got about 48 hours to edit on this.
Yep.
And it's all Jamie Curry's fault. But Jamie,
I'm glad I could be some assistance.
Oh, you've been absolutely horrendous. Jamie Kerr, thank you so much for joining me. Thank you everybody listening. I was going to make this available on YouTube, but I'll need to have a wee listen back and see if it's accessible.
I'm fine. I'm fine. You're doing it.
The first week ever, Kerr's fine.
I know.
Oh, Hong Kong Fu there.
Thank you everybody for listening, and we shall speak to you next week.